see you around here, smash the like.
Only a matter of time, wasn't it? Well, go on then. Don't be nervous. No need to play coy. Yes, the rumours are true. I am indeed the Hornblower. I did, in fact, blow the legendary horn of Valir at Fall, turning the tide of the battle. Oh, you want to thank me? Well, that's very kind. It's completely unnecessary of you. Oh, but you insist. A gesture of gratitude, if I must. Well, it's true that my station in life has changed, but at the end of the day, I'm a simple man of simple pleasures. A comfy bed, plenty of ale, a cheeky game of dice, and the odds are in my favour.
Hey, welcome back to the Dusty Wheel. I'm your host, Innkeeper, and this is your live call and talk show all about the Wheel of Time. And yes, we're back. We're back. We spent, 3 hours almost this morning talking about that clip. We finally, after, I feel like 5 years, got Matt Cawthon in the Matt Cawthon that I love. Not that, the first 2 seasons weren't great, but this is, it was just fun to see Matt be like that. And we're here to talk about Tanchico. We're here to do some season 3 speculation, talk about what is important in the Shadow Rising with respect to Tanchico. We've gotten some images to look at, so we'll look at that. We'll look at some of the cool stuff that happens in Tanchico. I mean, there's a lot of cool stuff that happens in the Shadow Rising, but Tanchico with Moghedien and some other stuff is one of them. With me, 2 wonderful people to talk all about that, Aradia and Jen Sedai. Hi, welcome.
Hello. Hello. Thanks for having us.
No, I've been waiting to talk Tanchico for so long, but hey, we got Matt. So we have to talk about that. So let me go to you, Aradia. What was your favorite part of that clip?
His clothing upgrade, obviously. The man is wearing brocaded paisley. Like, I don't even know. I'm so happy he's out of the bathrobe. First off.
Yeah. Yep. Yes. Yeah. No, I mean, I think the clothing is definitely noticeable, right? There's this part that I him playing or doing something with the swords always gets me. Jen, is there a part that spoke to you?
It's hard to choose because the whole thing is just rich and delicious. But I kind of like, and I'm on Team Elsgrinwall, but actually Lanfear. But it's the moment when he's got the girl in his room. You want to blow my horn, like, you know that he used that line. I mean, I'm sorry to go there, but you know, and I love the look on her face, the stricken look on her face. So maybe it's not Lanfear in the moment when whomever it is that enters the room, I'm assuming it's Sheriam, but like she's in trouble. She's going to be scrubbing a lot of pots.
A man of simple pleasures. I mean, yeah, that's that is the novice. Pretty sure it's novice, right? Has to be.
Oh yeah,
And yeah,
definitely a novice.
but it's I don't know. I just saw Omar show up. Hey, Omar, you want to tell us? Has anyone tried to figure out who this actor is? Have they been announced? Because that's someone who's clearly spending some time with Matt there. But yeah, you're right. That is
She's dressed in white and she's cute, so I'm going Els Grinwell.
I'm there. I'm there.
Daughter of the night, dressed in white. Yeah, I mean, yeah, I think there's definitely. Oh, we should maybe talk about spoilers. So we're gonna go to, as we've done for most season 3 stuff, we're gonna go to the end of the Fires of Heaven. So that's book 5 to the end of it. End of Fires of Heaven. But we were just talking about this because we're gonna talk about Tanchico. I think the actual main character's presence in Tanchico ends with the Shadow Rising. Someone could tell me in chat if that's incorrect, but I think that is, it happens in the Shadow Rising, and they're gone. Omar's like, she's on the website, but no role. Okay, all right, okay. And she are like, why are they sitting so far away from each other? It should be more canoed. Okay, yes.
Well, this book Matt is a gentleman. I mean, the show Matt is definitely a gentleman. I think despite him being, a little racy, I'm sure he's, giving her space.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think there's a few things that we spoke about. Let me put up a few things that Innkeeper and Hatch and I talked about, and then we put on Blue Sky to kind of look at theories and things like that. As we do here, I'm sorry if this isn't obvious to you. We perseverate on boots, on lamps, windows, floors. We do that. So yeah, there you go. We did that, and and Windows, right? I mean, the Windows is the big one. I think the Windows is the season 3 hype. This put it up there. Locations and theories, lamps and windows. The first one was comparing the bubble of evil with Rand windows, so the one in the middle. That's, you can see the channeling. Mm-hmm. Those are those windows. And the windows behind Bane and Chiad, or Chiad here, in that scene. Is it similar or same? Aradia, let me go to you.
Same. Oh, sorry.
Okay. No, you. What do you, Jen?
Let me tell you how I feel. Well, I was on team same. I watched. I went back and watched the live stream. I think these make it look different, but I feel like they're akin enough that they could be in the same room at different types of windows in the same room potentially. But don't forget, we have to move on to if we're looking at those windows, you got to talk about the fact that there's a Lion of Andor in them.
Yes. In the the other side. Yeah, you can see it. Rain Dusty Decor Dissection DDD. Yeah. Okay. I'm gonna end this poll here. Are you most excited about the Tanchico plotline in season 3? Aradia, I think you did. I see you say the Ruidian Isle Waste plotline.
Oh yeah. Okay. The columns for me are just too big. This book is packed with all my favorite things. It's the best book. I will not be taking any questions. Ask me all the questions. It's fine. But if I had to rank the parts of this book I love most, the columns, forward and back, I just...
Yeah, I think...
And for the window question, mm-hmm. I think that they're the same because this show has proven that they don't mind recycling sets.
Okay, yeah. So there you go. Yeah. I think the thing that I thought... from a window standpoint, they could be similar, but they you have different windows in the same building that are not the same. So that's my
architectural consistency is
right.
Real.
Exactly. Yes. Dana Lou's asking. It's end of book 5 for spoiler level. There's what did I see here that I wanted to share?
As evidenced by my windows that are literally taped shut over there that are brand new and trying to match my old windows, but don't. So see, it's a real thing.
Yeah. Let me ask that hair is the bubble of evil seen and Matt with B and C scene. No, this is too long in the same building. It's not gonna let me. Oh, it is. Yeah, it is. Okay, it's the bubble scene, evil scene, and Matt with B and C scene in the same building, same location. I like location. Yeah. Yes or no? And yeah, we were just talking about that last poll. I always think like the beginning of that book with Tyr and the attack, the bubble of evil scene, the first twisted redstone doorframe, like that part is just amazing too. So even if you just take that by its Lanfear shows up. There's like so many great things that happen before they leave, and so I think even from that perspective, you could throw that into the Shadow Rising too. You know, it's definitely there. Miss Sarah James, you're right, but you know, did I change to building or location? Oh, I should have stayed in building. I was trying to go with location as in not like the like same room. Right. But I'm trying to go, yeah. A bedroom in an inn that has a bar. Yes.
Okay, but so truthfully, so I was convinced, just despite the Andor line, which we'll talk about in a second, but I was convinced. I'm like, they're back in the Light's Blessing. And then I went through every scene of the Light's Blessing from season 1 today, and the windows are definitely not. There are no X's in any windows in the Light's Blessing.
No, they're not.
So, yeah, because I was like, maybe the Andor lions are there because Basil Gale is actually Andoran, and he decorated his inn that way. But now right. I'm off that.
I mean,
my sister's theory is it's the Camelin embassy. Like there's in Tarvalon. There would be a house or a mansion or an embassy type place for every nation, which I kind of like that idea.
The Camelin wing? Is there a Camelin wing of? Yeah.
Little Camelin.
Little Camelin. Oh, I love this. I'm gonna pull this in chat. That I think works. Because I mean,
Megan. I have to give that up to Megan because that was her.
This is the that window, right? So you see the Lion of Andor on the banner. You see the Lion of Andor on the kind of coat area, and then and you see it on that window behind. You see it in the scene where Matt is. I think I have it here. Maybe not that one. That you see, in that picture.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So it's definitely there, and you see it on the left side here too. So. Yeah, I mean, is this is that the Lion of Andor on that window? And I guess the question is going to be whether that is Little Camelin. That is a good. That's what we're going to refer to it as, I think, Little Camelin. And it seems like this is episode 1, right? This is like early on. It seems like. That they're there, and it's quite obvious that they put it there. So like, it's not like that's not something you recycle. That has to be, yeah. Right. The other one we spoke about this morning was it's like like kind of you said, I think a Camelin inspired in like if Basil Gill is there and he's from Camelin, that's he's put up the Andor glass there, so that works. So yeah, let me.
I believe there was also a suggestion that it could be the Dusty Wheel.
Well, I mean, yes. So the lore is the Dusty Wheel is in Camelin, right? That's where it is. But this is the Dusty Wheel too, right? So Matt's inn is in Camelin, but when we franchise and I opened this. When I started 2 years ago now, actually, I missed 2 years of me being an innkeeper like 2 weeks ago or something.
Wow.
I said, when I started, thank you, I said, this is the Tarvalon. I always say it wrong now for some reason. Tarvalon location of the Dusty Wheel. So like, it is like canon within some Dusty Wheel lore that there is a Tar-Valon location of the Dusty Wheel. So you could make it work. You could make it work. It'd be yes. Megan said Basil Gill is a good Queen's man. Like, yeah, he would do that, right? He would totally do that. Oh no, this is yes, Mr. James. We'll definitely get to that. But the next kind of where this is, just because there is the Lion of Andor there were thoughts, could this be actually in Camelin? And we tried to kind of disprove it by taking some steps, right? So we were like, okay, how do we get there? So we have to, comparison of the lamps outside of where Matt is getting his drawing done, with the horn, and then the lamps in Tar-Valon from season 1, episode 5. So the one on the right is when Rand and Matt walk in to Tar-Valon for the first time in season 1, and the two on the left are zoomed in that are behind Matt in episode in the clip today. So that's an establishing kind of, we're establishing that is in Tar-Valon. Why show this is because there's more lamps. Of course there's more lamps, right?
But are they sexy lamps?
Right. Oh. Wow. Okay. That we're not. Are we gonna get into? Wow, we're gonna get into that.
No, I just wanted to stir the pot to see the sparks fly. That's all.
Yes. Yeah. I just but this is the thing I want to do now is have all the lamps, and then, but I don't believe in that, so I don't want to do that. But yeah, the one on the right is a lamp that is just behind the artist's kind of the sketch of Matt. So there is a lamp that's in that same area where Matt's getting his sketch done, and we know that is in Tar-Valon because of those lamps outside. The one on the left is a lamp behind Matt, Bane, and Shiad.
Oh,
so we're saying
that's the same.
They look the same.
Although the one on the left is flipped and is on the ceiling or wall, and this is lower on the table, but it's the same. It's looks the same. So if you walk through the logic, this is the logic behind all of this. We proved that Matt, Rand, and Perrin are in Tar-Valon. Matt's getting his sketch done. There's a lamp there that looks exactly like the lamp where the Andor Lion windows are. So therefore, they're in Tar-Valon and not in Camelin. So,
I don't think we have the time to get there.
Yeah. Well, I mean, yes. I mean, there's. It's hard because I feel like what series has said there's been filming of a scene in a castle with Andoran banners, so the Lion of Andor, and Olivia Williams and Shohreh Aghdashl were there. So
yes, and Megan and I were talking about that this morning too, because I was like, I know we've seen it, and she was like, I don't think we've seen it. I think it was just part of the rumor mill, but we didn't actually see it.
Mm-hmm.
But I had it so in my head that when we first saw the shot in the teaser in the next week with the stills with Shohreh and Olivia Williams, and the line behind them, and I was like, there it is. And I missed all the streams, and Megan was like, no, we've already debunked that. They're in the White Tower. So somebody's carrying them.
Yeah.
So I think that dispels it for me. I'm pretty comfortable with saying whatever it was we think we could have.
Yeah, you're correct in all of that. Other than the fact that what series said that was in a separate castle somewhere in, I think, Croatia or somewhere. Oh, in Czechia. Yeah. Huh?
It's the embassy. I'm like, that's
right. Okay. Yeah. That could be. Yeah. That would make sense. That would be. I like that we just say everything is in Tar-Valon but it's in
Little
Camelin. All right, that is. Thank you. I'm going to end this poll. Is the bubble receive? Oh, that's. I feel like people still there's 30% who said no, that the bubble evil scene and the mat with Bane and Chiat scene are not in the same location, unless people went very technical and said it's not the same room. So I'm thinking that may be what it is.
Well, there's a whole lot of nerds collectively working on this, so I mean, it could go anyway.
Yes.
Y'all are nerds.
I like the idea that the bubble of evil is what gets Matt out of Maiden's kiss.
Yeah,
like his
yes.
bubble of evil happens in that moment, and
Yes.
and it's lucky. It's weirdly lucky for him.
Right. Yeah. And so, as we talk about that, although it seems like Matt gets a close shave while playing Maiden's Kiss, is it actually getting these cards that come to life in a bubble of evil scene? Is that like what gets the neck wounds? And so Aradia, like, I mean, if Rand's getting a bubble of evil scene, like Matt, like, should too, right? And should.
The trifecta of bubbles of evil with the unifying cockcrow, to me, just really is like part of the wild magic of that particular bubble. I could totally see them like playing with what the bubbles are or exactly how they play out or who's in the room, but like having the concurrent bubbles at the same time happening to the ta'veren as a mechanic to explain why bubbles of evil happen, I would assume we're getting that.
Yep, and to reconnect them, because at this point now we all know Rand in the show. We all know Rand is the Dragon Reborn. Are Perrin and Matt quite as important as we think? And I think the bubbles of evil, if they do attack all three of them, again brings home that ta'verenness and that connection between the three of them. I agree. I think it's really an important point.
Yeah.
Is the window with the line of Andor in Tar Valon in parentheses in Little Camelin is what I'm going to say, because I have to put that in there somewhere. Okay, let's see what people say there. I mean, the poll is, you have to, like, when you see the poll and we explain it, it makes sense. Like a minute or two later, people like look at it and say, what does this poll mean? I'm sorry, like, that's just how this happens. You have to like figure out what I was thinking when I wrote this. Like, that's just how it is. You know, internet polls are so serious. Let's see. This, I want to see BNC try to kill the cards. That would be like, they like stab the cards. That would be cool.
Yeah.
I love that.
That would be neat.
I also think, while I do like the idea that the scars and the marks we see on Matt are from Bane and Chiad, they aren't going to draw blood unless they intend to draw blood.
Right.
That's the next thing too, is like, that's not, I mean, and they very well may intend to. I'm sure he deserves it, but
right. Yeah, I mean, it's definitely interesting, like the fact that they showed that in the teaser trailer. There's like something to it. So is it them because the cards come to life and he gets scratched because he moves against it or something, or is it actually the cards, right? The cards themselves scratch him. So I think I think the other, I feel like there was one other theory here. Let me try to pull it up. Oh, it's basically comparing the pictures from the first look pictures. There's this one here. Where did I put it? I put it somewhere here. I guess I have to show this one too then. Innkeeper Hatch, he's like, you have to make this, you have to make. I was like, okay, sure. And I shared it on Blue Sky, but like the resemblance is uncanny.
Oh no. Oh, that's perfect. I really hope they did that on purpose. That's amazing.
That is.
I love it.
I mean, there is like
our least favorite.
if they did that, if they didn't do that, just take credit. Just see this and be like,
Say
yeah,
you
that's
did that.
yeah. Say you did that. We'll run with it. So yeah, that came out of there. I think Kevin brought up a few theories about there you go.
Nice.
How
Embarrassed Emma.
how do like is there a chance of they split up and actually go to Camelin, and the way that would be is Perrin, Matt, Ben and Chiad, Loyal get on a ship, stop at Camelin on the way to the Two Rivers, because why would Matt want to go to Tanchico? And then that's where they hear from Lord Gabriel. Matt hears that and then splits off and goes to Camelin. It's just too much. You're right. It's too much time. But like, that's one way. Like, how does Matt? We're gonna talk about Tanchico and motives, but let's talk about Matt and Tanchico. Like, why would Matt want to go to Tanchico?
I have a thought on that actually as of today with the Matt drop this morning, because wherever Amariso whisked the horn to, during the battle in Falm, Matt's got it back. And I at one point I was even like, maybe it's a replica. We don't know for sure.
Okay,
if it's the actual.
Yeah, good. Yeah.
But Matt's got the horn there in these shots, and he's posing with the horn and he's showing it off to get girls. And so it occurred to me, I was like, oh, well, if the Black Ajah stealing Dream tel'aran'rhiod, why wouldn't they steal the horn at the same time? And if the Black Ajah is going to Tanchico, Matt's going to go after the horn, because whether or not the dagger is still an issue, it gives Matt something to chase after that he didn't get in.
But it's the second hunt for the horn, kind of.
I guess that it started a second. It is a bit of a double beat, but I can't imagine they're just going to hang on to it. I don't know.
Yeah, it's weird. What we came up with, I don't know if you heard Jen read it this morning. We said that's just like like every kid like wants that, like it's like it's the cool toy that everyone wants. It's the Horn of Villiers now. So there's a replica. There's a lot of replicas. There's keychains.
Buy one on every corner. Yeah.
Yeah. There you go.
Right. And I mean, my biggest question about that is just like, what is going on with Matt being so okay with being so public about having the horn? Because that's so different to book Matt, that it's like that alters the calculus of all of his decisions and all of his like relationships with the Aes Sedai and with the Supergirls. Like, his calculus is different if he's okay with being known as the Horn Sounder, whether or not the horn is a replica. The fact that he's okay with being, and then my thought was like, is everyone claiming to be a horn sounder? So he figures he can just hide in the crowd. Like, I just trying to anticipate how, because a lot of what Matt does is run away from things in the books. And this is very much him leaning in a way that is just like, I don't know how to anticipate who he's going to want to run away from if he's okay with being known as the horn sounder, if that makes sense.
Yeah. And when does he find out in the books? I'm trying to think, because I just read it. And I don't remember where I read it, what moment, but at the very beginning, Matt does not know that he is attached to the horn, and that he will,
like, it's a thing. Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
And that he's in danger, because if people know that he's attached to the horn, they'll try to kill him so they can get the horn back. So I'm wondering if at this point he doesn't know that yet, because I think he finds that out pretty darn quickly, and then doesn't want anyone to know that he's associated with the horn, because he doesn't want to be associated with that. So if he
maybe they'll show that, yeah, maybe they'll actually show that there's a switch where he's like, no, I can't do this. Now it's always weird. Go ahead. Yeah, I mean, it's a very, you're right. It's a very interesting kind of like, why is he doing this out in the open? And like, what are his motives with doing that, other than trying to just be kind of show off, in a way, and that's kind of it. I like this. He's going to Tanchico to hide it under the Panarch's throne.
You know where it would be great for this is under a different throne. That'll hide
Let's
it.
just hide it there. That's like it's literally on the other side of the let's see. Ooh, why is Innkeeper Hat sending me this like huge thing? You should tell me why you sent me this. But regardless, you brought up why is he so okay with it? And yeah, like it's kind of like very obvious. There's no like hiding from it.
Listening to the thing this morning that Donald said as well, when he was just like, yes, my fortunes have changed. I mean, we have played very much. I mean, this is a departure with show Matt from book Matt, is that he is, down on his luck. He has, had problem after problem, can't get enough money together, literally steals bracelets so that he can buy lanterns for his sisters for Beltane. So this is the first time when it's kind of like a young athlete getting signed to a really big team and getting millions and millions of dollars and buying a hot rod car and crashing it. Like this is his first moment of people looking at him and looking to him. And so he's got the upgrade of clothes. He's wearing that ring. There's a lot to that. And I think while that is a departure from the books, it's not necessarily a departure from Matt's character, even within the books. And it's definitely fitting for Matt's character in the show. But and it's also safety. Like, he's like, I blew the horn. If I carry this thing around and anything goes wrong, I just call my buddies back, like it is a little bit of that safety net. So yeah, maybe that's a little bit of it as well. It's just sort of like, nobody can touch me if I have the horn.
He's a dumb. That's just what it is.
Norman Garden commented, and Bat crashes a horse.
Almost like he's like, I know Matt. He's just like he's just messing. Like he messed up. Like he'll soon realize he shouldn't do this and he'll stop. is what's going to happen. But like he's I mean, they're happy. The boys look happy, right? Like they're having fun. And even though like the actual speech or talking to the crowd that Matt is doing, talking to us, it doesn't necessarily seem like that's what he would be doing with everyone. It's possible, like, he's like that, but that's more of a psyche kind of thing. Like he's just playing into, yep, I'm the horn sounder, like, but I don't really, I don't take it too seriously. That's kind of what he's trying to show here. Like, he's not realized how much danger he's in. Y'all leave Matt alone. No.
What was that? What did he say?
Melissa KJ, y'all leave Matt alone. But he just
see him going back to the artist and being like, can I have that drawing back? Can you not like show anybody that drawing, please? Once he finds out, like, he doesn't want to be associated with it.
Yep, for sure. I mean, I think he is.
I mean, for all we know, the whole thing is a tower thing. It's a tower propaganda PR event, and they're like, we want to showcase that this happened and that we have control of the horn and the horn sounder. So hey, Matt, have an upgrade of clothes, and like, here's an artist, and here's a bunch of praise and ego stroking. Like, for all we know, the tower is treating this completely differently, and the tower wants to wave it around.
And then when he finds out, he's like, nope, I'm running far away from Aes Sedai and the tower. Yeah, I think that totally makes sense. This is funny. Like, I was thinking exactly this. So the show starts with, from what we know, based on people who've seen the first 15 minutes at CCXP, with the fight, right? The Black Ajah leave. And Rocky Ankram is like, they look happy. Meanwhile, the tower is battling, and we see it spread to the streets, and he's there with the horn. People would be like, yo, blow the horn.
Yo, bro, blow the horn. We're having a coup.
It's gonna be so funny. Like, that's like It's like, where is Matt? Tell him to blow the horn.
Meanwhile, he's just like trying.
It's just not I think it's probably just not the real horn, and no one takes him seriously. Like that's what it is, right? It's just not the horn. Like there's other people who are doing it, and he's just one of them, and no one takes him seriously. That may be it. I guess we'll find out. How much there is to it.
Maybe it's all a dream. Maybe it all is a dream, and it's all just gonna poof away in the first 15 seconds of the first episode.
The dream part is so funny because it's like so real. It's like, is that the arches? Is that tel'aran'rhiod? Is that a vision in the rings? Is that a columns thing from Matt's from Rand's past? So Innkeeper Hatch sent me this thing specifically. Let me try to. He's eating. Oh yeah, when he wakes up in the Dragon Reborn, he's eating and he eats all those chickens, right? Like he eats so much food. I'm going to read this from the Dragon Reborn. Halfway to his mouth, his hand froze. I blew the horn of Valir. Softly, he whistled a bit of tune, then cut it short when the words came to him. I'm down at the bottom of the well. It's night, and the rain is coming down. The sides are falling in, and there's no rope to climb. I'm down at the bottom of the well. And then later on, Merrilin had been bringing the horn to Tar Valon, but he could not remember if she knew he was the one who had blown it. She had never said anything to make him think so. He was sure of that. He thought he was. So what if she does know? So, this is months after. Now, there is the dagger illness to account for, and the healing and what happens. But there's ways they can, I guess, people are like, 4 chickens. He ate 4 chickens. There's ways to explain it. Nevertheless, it is fun to see this show Matt, right? It's just like really good, engaging. Donald's just really good with what he's doing here. I'm just looking forward to seeing more of that and see where it goes, right? And we know Matt goes to Tanchico. So I'm going to end this poll here. We asked, is the window with the Lion of Andor in Tar Valon in Lune Camelin? About 72%. So there's always this, 25-30%. I feel like that.
Dissenters.
Yeah, well, it's hey. That's what it is. Let's see. People are just talking about chickens in chat now. I knew that's what
chickens are funny.
Chickens are definitely funny. Okay, so let's switch gears. What are we about 30-40 minutes in here? Tanchico. I asked everyone what their favorite part is. I don't think most people would choose Tanchico unless you're like a diehard Nynaeve fan, right? That would make sense. If you're a big Moghedien fan, then that would make sense.
Right. So like Jenny, definitely.
Yes.
After the deck.
Yeah. There's definitely, from a show perspective, they've made certain changes. The biggest one is Matt. So if we kind of, in a nutshell, think of characters that go to Tanchico, the two kind of main ones are Nynaeve and Elayne, right? And we've seen Nynaeve and Elayne in the first look pictures and all of that. But if you take a step back, I'm going to take a step back. How do they actually get to Tanchico? Because in the books they're in Tyr, and no one really knows where anyone is going. They're at the same kind of spot, I think, how they will be in Tar Valon in the show. But I was listening to this recently, and the first Tanchico mention is actually by someone who does make it to Tanchico. So this is from The Eye of the World, Chapter 24, Flight Down the Arenal. In Tanchico, that be a port on the Aryth Ocean, part of the Panarch's palace, were built in the Age of Legends, so it was to said. There be a wall there with a frieze showing animals no man living has ever seen. Any child can draw an animal nobody's ever seen, Rand said, and the captain chuckled. Aye, lad, so they can. But can a child make the bones of those animals? In Tanchico, they have them, all fastened together like the animal was. They stand in a part of the Panarch's palace where any can enter and see. The breaking left 1,000 wonders behind, and there been half a dozen empires or more since rivaling Arthur Hawkwing's, everyone leaving things to see and find. So Bail Dolman, back in Eye of the World, talked about the Panarch's palace and talked about some of the things that maybe we've seen with the Panarch, and in that one still from the teaser. So like, how important is that setting of the Panarch, the fact that it was the Age of Legends, to the setting of Tanchico? Already, let me go to you. Like, how important is like that to Tanchico? Is it important that they're going to dig into that?
I mean, it's the world building, right? Like, to have pieces of the world that was, to be able to show the way that the world has changed in 3,000 years, to give you these hints of the fact that this is a post-utopia, not a medieval setting, right? Like, I think that if you really want to drive home the fact that we used to be in a technological utopia with all this cool stuff, the setting of the Panarch's palace, Tanchico artifacts, like, I think that's really important. And also, can add some gravitas to things like discovering tel'aran'rhiod. Like, are they new or are they old? And we know that old has all this baggage. I think that's really important.
Yeah, no, I think I think they showed that in this picture, right? Like the statue, and there's so many things that you can, the actual docks and the pirates feel to it. But the fact that there is like this remnant of a statue there that was that's maybe left, is it from the Age of Legends, or is it something afterwards? We don't really know. But Jen, like, there is at least from what we've seen, they are trying to, it's very rich in what they're showing, and Tanchico in the books definitely has that.
Yeah. It's in terms of world building and in terms of then production design and set design and the filmmaking side of it, the more specific you can get with any of this, the more that we, the audience, even though we're going to be wowed, like, what is that costume? What is that statue?
What is that window?
Yeah. What's the window? What's the window? Where is it? But we're gonna believe it if we're so caught up in the details that we're like, what is this thing that exists from this time, from what time we don't even know? Then we're gonna be in that world and stop thinking about, like, oh, I'm just watching a TV show. Like, I just think that that's all those specific details. And like, I have a friend who's reading the books for the first time as well. She and David started at the same time, but she just started book 8, I think, or 9. So she's beating my husband. But she was just saying something about, Robert Jordan's like very, very descriptive descriptors. And we've all read them so many times, and sometimes when we get bogged down, like, we can flip through quickly because we know what a place looks like. But at the same time, that's what makes this world so real for us, is these things about, like, veils and marriage knives when we get to Abudar, and, like, all of these things that are so culturally specific and then historically specific to that place. Like I said, I pulled up my companion today and was reading about, like, the history of Tanchico because I was like, I better study. And there's just the fact that stuff exists is what makes us all believe in this world and dig in so deep. And I think that for the viewers watching the show, having a production team who also takes it that seriously, I can't wait to listen to Sharon talk about these costumes. Having a costume designer who's going to go that deep and be like, oh, it's not just one veil. And all the different veils are going to mean different things and different status. And I can't wait to know why Nynaeve's wearing hers across her eyes. And, it's great. Yes. It's so cool. I can't wait. I love it.
Yeah, totally agree with this. I love all the tiny details they add to the sets. Really well done. There's like so much detail that makes that kind of, it's almost like, yes, Jordan went there with all the details, and they're not holding back as far as the world building goes.
They're really honoring him with that.
Yeah, totally right. I think the setting of the place. I think that's the first thing, but then how do they? Why do they go there? Right. So in the books, let me read to you a couple of kind of snippets from the Shadow Rising. This is chapter 5, Questioners, and this is Egwene, Nynaeve, and Elayne talking to Joya and Amiko, a couple of the Black Ajah sisters that they had captured and held captive. And this is the kind of the first mention of Tanchico in this book. Amiko murmured something at the tabletop. What? Nynaeve demanded. Speak up. Amiko raised her face humbly on his slender neck. She was still a beautiful woman with large dark eyes, but there was something different about her that Egwene could not quite put her finger on. Not the fear that made her clutch her coarse prisoner's dress with both hands. Something else. Swallowing, Amiko said, "You should go to Tanchico." "You've told us that 20 times, Nynaeve said, roughly. 50 times. And then a little later, if you could have, this is Amiko talking, if you could have seen Leandrin's face when she saw me, she would have murdered me on the spot had she thought that I had heard anything. And Tamil likes to hurt people. She enjoys it. I only heard a little before they saw me. Leandrin said there was something in Tanchico, something dangerous to him." She met Rand. She could not say his name, and a mention of the Dragon Reborn was enough to send her into tears. Leandrin said it was dangerous to whoever used it too, almost as dangerous to him. That is why she had not already gone for it. And she said being able to channel would not protect him. She said, "When we find it, his filthy ability will bind him for us." Sweat ran down her face, but she shivered almost uncontrollably. So that's like, our first kind of, okay, that's why you should go to Tanchico. And the domination bands, right? The male Adam, the sad bracelets, whatever you may want to call it. But that is the main reason they go there. And then there's that one scene where Egwene tries to, I think I have it, I'll show it, but Aradia, like, do you think they'll show this because we know the Black Ajah breakaway is happening? Is this exactly the way this will happen? Is either they or someone is talking to captured Black Ajah sisters, and they get to find out about Tanchico from them?
I mean, it would make a lot of sense given how horrible the sul'dam for women was in the last season, for them to escalate by saying, "Oh yeah, and there's an sul'dam for men." Like that would be a very logical progression.
You think they'd actually say that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess they didn't find that out until they got there, but
right.
The show has not taken quite as much time on its exposition as the books did. It didn't take 8 books to get around to making certain points. They were like, no, episode 1, season 1, we are getting this out of the way. So I totally could see them being much more direct and saying, oh no, because balance, there is such a thing as sul'dam for men. It's mostly a theoretical from the Seanchan, but there is a prototype, and the Black Ajah knows about it, and now we're racing to get it. I could totally see something like that being the motivation, because Rand, there's not a lot fettering him other than his own incompetence at this point. We need something that actually is outside of him, that is a real threat, that isn't just, him having drama with his exes.
Yeah, and him, the fact that Rand is walking around Tar Valon, that we almost ended, but we secondarily ended the penultimate episode of season 2 was Swan holding him, binding him, and being we're gonna just put you in a little room and take care of you and pamper you and bring you out, trot you out at the end of the last battle. And Maureen was like, he's got to learn Logain. So he seems really happy hanging out in a bar with Matt and Loyal, and he's not under wraps, So yeah, at this point, I think obviously the White Tower, I think, has to be acknowledging him, I would think, at this point, or in some way. I mean, it's really interesting, and I can't wait to see how we handle it. But my question is, we've got this weird statue in Tanchico of a man wearing the domination bands. What is that statue? And So is there some kind of lore? Is there in the same way that like women are not allowed to channel and tear, is Tanchico a place that is famous for being able to bind men who can channel? Like, or, so is the rather than like the theory that there might be something there that we need and we have to use need to find it. Maybe it's just like we know they're going to Tanchico and that's bad because in Tanchico we know that this thing exists. So we better go after them.
Yeah, it's interesting.
What they're going for.
I don't know how, because again, I have to think of what the show knowledge is and the book knowledge. Book knowledge, there isn't a knowledge of the sul'dam before the Seanchan show up, and I feel like it's similar in the show. So it's hard to be like, well, unless someone like Varian is like, oh, like I've seen that statue and it has the same thing as what you saw in Falm. So therefore there's something there. Like we need someone to make that connection. It might not be a known thing, but it's an obvious like. So I guess I'm gonna ask this poll: will the domination bands be mentioned when Nynaeve and Elayne start the Black Ajah hunt? Like, is that clear?
What if somebody is like, wait, I've seen that jewelry device that the strangers had. That's the weird jewelry that's been on that statue that we've never understood what it was.
Right.
And now we just saw it in real life getting used, and suddenly the statue makes sense in a way that it hasn't for 2,000 years or whatever. Right. That's very far-fetched, but like, I don't know what the world building is going to be. All I know is that they keep expanding the world, so there's going to be surprises.
Right. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yes, I actually saw this too, Banshad. One of the kings of Tarvalon was discovered to be a male channeler. He was single-handedly carried out of his palace by Cadsuane and brought to Tarvalon to be gentled. Now, if you're saying like Cadsuane used the domination bands, I don't think so. But yeah, but like she did that a lot, right? She like had like at least 10 or 20 people that she gentled and brought to Tarvalon, and those people actually did fairly well compared to other people who were gentled. I mean, just talking about Cadsuane, but yeah, there is this. Could this be that king? Like could that be the, like they're building it in like in terms of the lore in Tanchico from that perspective. It totally can be, but I think I agree with you, Radia, that like putting it out there as this is the evil in Tanchico, and the Black Ajah sisters are going there. They may just mention it, and they're like, "Oh, yep, we need to fight this and go there." Instead of being like, "Well, we don't know what it is," and then Egwene runs into Amis while in tel'aran'rhiod, and she's like, "This is evil," and then they like know for sure that they have to go.
Yeah, that's real circuitous for a show. We gotta have a straighter narrative, right, to get through all that.
Yeah, this is what I was just talking about from the Shadow Rising. If you look at the end there, or kind of there is a darkness here, an evil worse than men can make or women. You cannot see it or feel it, can you? And you want to hunt Shadowrunners in tel'aran'rhiod. So this is this cements their decision, at least for the two of them, to go to Tanchico. I think Moraine helps them kind of make that decision, and Egwene is told, you need to come to the Isle Waste, and be taught there. The other people, as we talk about who's going to Tanchico, so we figure out why, I guess, they would go. There's the Black Ajah hunt, the hunt for the domination bands. So Nynaeve and Elayne. But we know Min is there. We know Mat is there. Why would Min and Mat, or at least just maybe start with Min? How does Min end up in Tanchico? Does she start off there? Does she start in Tarvalon and then go there? What role is Min playing in Tanchico? Because she doesn't go to Tanchico in the books.
Well, her role with our cast at this point is that she's betrayed everyone. Every connection she has to our main group is that of betrayal and disappointment or absence. So any reason for her to get together with them again would be trying to make up for that, right? And that's mostly Matt, right? She really betrayed Matt. So the only reason I would see her is either she's there randomly because she's on a, drinking grand tour and just trying to drink herself through every bar like on the coast, and it's just a sheer coincidence. Or she, for some reason, tracks Matt down and tries to help him because she feels able to do that and guilty about what she did before. I feel like she's gonna feel like she owes them something. I feel like that's why
Right.
she's gonna maybe forcibly attach herself to the group, whether they want her or not, because she owes them a debt she won't explain. Maybe.
Yeah.
That's
Just going back to Leandrin is from Tanchico. She saw the colored women in season 2. So at least from the show perspective, like from the other side, why would Leandrin go there? Is she knows that that's there. I mean, there's also Forsaken who may know about the domination bands. But that, yeah, thank you for that. Jen, go ahead.
had a good point too, because she mentioned that maybe it is just shackles on the man statue. Maybe it's not anything to do with the bands, because the bracelet would be worn by a sul'dam, not by.
Yeah, right. Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
that's another.
it's hard to make I like this. Omar's like, reminder, we had an audition tape of Min talking to Lyda in the tower. So you're saying Min will start out in the tower, which I think makes sense because she is Elmendreda. She has the whole thing with Swan and the coup and the tower breaking and escaping with Logain. Like that is where Min starts. But I feel like we came up with this 2 weeks ago. We had the Leandrin Grudge Squad because Min, like Leandrin, right? Like she has every reason to hate Leandrin. Matt has every reason, like he's held captive for I don't know how long. Elayne, Nynaeve, and Egwene, obviously, held captive, kidnapped, and then Egwene made. So the one person who's actually not going, who must hate Leandrin the most, is Egwene. But the other people do have reasons to go, and I think that Min and Matt do have that. Now, do they join the party ahead of time? It's definitely possible that happens, but it'll be interesting to see how that plays out in terms of going there. Now, when they get there, I feel like Min and Matt, we've seen them together now, so they're working together. But what role would they be playing? Because the two people that we know, or at least 4 other people that we know who are there and kind of part of the Tanchico protagonist group are Tom Merrilin, who we know is in the show and likely to be in Tanchico. Juilin Sandar, who goes from Tyr with them to Tanchico. Bill Doman is there, and Seanchan Igaen is there too. So those are the kind of other 4 people. How do you just starting maybe with Tom? Is Tom just gonna be a gleamaning in Tanchico, or is there something more there? Because there's something like Moraine actually tells him to go to Tanchico with the girls, telling that I'll tell you who about the Black Ajah and Owen, his nephew. I doubt any of that is happening, but like, how does he shows up in Tanchico like he showed up in Breen Spring? Is that kind of what happens?
I think it might. I like the removal of Moraine and Rand being like, big boys, big men, you need to go after those girls and protect them. I know that they're not going to do that. So thank you, show, for taking that out. So, I think that in a way that was just simply the way that Robert Jordan could get them there, because he was like, I want to put Tom over there. I want to create
Right.
this Tom Elayne relationship and everything. So I think that it can be more surprising or circumstantial. But the idea of having Min there makes me wonder how the viewings are involved in all of it, because I'm assuming she's going to keep having viewings while they're there. Maybe she's having viewings while they're in Tarvalon that give her enough information that she knows. And also, this is interesting because in the books, she's like, I see what I see. I don't always know what it means, but if I do know what it means, I'm never wrong. She's wrong in the show. Like, she thought she knew what it meant and she was wrong. So, and it was like, no matter how she tried to stop it, it was inevitable. And that was a lesson that she learned in last season. So I think we will see her struggling with how she manifests her power and how she learns how to read it. And maybe this is where we start to see that. So maybe that's how Tom comes into the fold in some way of like, I don't know why we have to go to whatever this inn is, and he happens to be there with, being pulled here and tugged. But I don't know. I don't have a strong idea. And we don't know for sure that Tom's going to be there, do we? We just know he's in season 3, but we don't know where in season 3, or do we?
We don't know Tom is alive from the show.
Yes.
Yeah. We don't know Tom is alive. We don't know where he is. Yeah. Yeah. I'm just starting at like, what the show has told us. The show has told us nothing. Alexander Willem has told us he's on set and things like that. Walt Series has told us where he's filmed, but I don't think even Walt Series had said he's on Tanchico sets. I could be wrong, but at least, but like that's how we've put it together. Omar is like he showed up in the Forgate in Karian. Yeah, I mean that is where he shows up after he was presumed dead, right? He just showed up there, so he's probably at one of the inns that they go. We think he's in one of the stills. Yeah, we can't see him, but we see his guitar.
That's right. The guitar behind it in Tanchico. Yeah.
Where is it? I have it. Let me just show it. So while we're talking about Tom, let's show the only Tom that we maybe have seen, and right there, Tom's guitar.
I'm sorry, but why can't this man also have a guitar? Why does it have to be Tom's guitar?
Because we want Tom to be hidden behind him. You're right.
Okay.
There's no reason.
All
There's
right.
no reason.
I have not been convinced that that's Juilin, even though I know many people are convinced that it's Juilin. But if it's Tom standing behind him with the guitar, I'm on board. I'm like, fine, bring Tom and Juilin in right there, and I don't care how they get there. I enjoy them, and I enjoy them together. So
I guess that is, let me end this poll here. Bringing up Juilin Sandar. Remind me, he's a thief catcher, right? Thief catcher?
Thief
No.
taker.
Taker.
How dare you get that wrong?
As opposed to Huron, who is a sniffer, and and something else, right? Is he the thief catcher? No, is thief catcher not a
thief catcher?
Okay,
he doesn't
good.
have as much of a stick up his butt about like what you call it. He's just like, I help with like investigations and B&Es. It's fine.
I guess the easy question is, will Juilin Sandar be in season 3? I think that's so thief. I've forgotten it already. Taker? Did you say Taker? Taker. There you go.
Yeah.
What purpose do you think he's basically like the? There's no better way to put it. Like not an errand. Like he basically does some spying for them in Tanchico. Now, if you have a Matt, do you need a Juilin? Is my question.
So, I mean, the introduction to Juilin in Tyr was Mother Gwenna brings him in because the girls are looking for some women who stole some things from us. They're all cagey about it. And we haven't had the Black Ajah hunt yet. So I don't mind the idea that Juilin is Tanchican, not Terran, and that he's there being hired for the same reason. And it looks like he's handing them the bracelets or something, it looks like he's giving them something that he found and they're handing off some, something. So I think the idea that they're there, can't get a clue, can't get a lead, and hire a local detective to help. If you need somebody to find you something, this is who you find. This is who you hire.
So the thief takers are detectives. The thief catchers are like just police. like just like constables, like just
So
constables.
your regular beat cops.
Yeah. Or yeah, like Juilin Sandar. Do we need a Juilin Sandar to even be there? If we have Matt, who I feel like someone talked about. I saw this here. Where did it go? Patrick Lightbody's like, we need Sandar. He's decent comic fodder. But like Matt, we got Matt.
Look, I love Juilin. I love the fact that he like unapologetically wears a fez the whole books. Like I love him. But when it comes to show adaptations, he feels like an easy cut.
Easy,
like,
I agree.
There's so many things that he does that are just, we needed a spare Matt or a spare Tom, and he needed to be in two places at once. So we had this third wheel character who's kind of like second rate, but still cool. Yeah. Like I don't see him sticking through. Maybe like he gets like a one-off cameo and he's the guy that Matt buys the hat from, and like he's just in one episode, but I don't see him being the character we know from the books in any meaningful sense.
I would agree with that. I think he's a very easy cut. You know, he's too much in the books that if they don't give us people are gonna, inevitably people are gonna be like, but what about the relationship with Thera? But what about this? But why isn't he with them in the circus? But why isn't he here? He's so much that if you start to dial that back a little bit, people are gonna be frustrated. So you might as well just like let him make a cameo, give us whatever they found, and and then move on. I agree. I think he's an easy cut, and I don't think he needs to stick around and be with us. But there's nothing wrong with making him there for that moment. And maybe this character won't be Juilin, but it'll be somebody who's a close enough approximation that will just be like, okay, that's a nod to us. I mean, the fact that he is wearing a hat at all gives that vibe, even though it's not the fez. I'm like, that's not his hat, but it looks like the hat that Matt's gonna
get. It's an iconic hat.
Yes.
So
and also the choice of that still with Matt's eyeline at the hat, like that wasn't. That's not that. Was
I don't know. I still think he's looking past this person. I think he's looking.
No, he is lusting after that hat.
No, I don't know. I just feel like he's just like too. Like the way his eyes are. This person's too close. I don't know. At least that's how I think he's looking past it. I like.
You underestimate Matt's love of his hat.
Right.
I take to me the look on his face is the same look as like when someone might say eyes up here,
right?
Juilin eyes down here because he's just like staring at that hat. Really, gotta look at it.
Omar was like, "We don't need Juilin. We just need Julian's fez, though. Like we need the can if you're cutting him, just like cut him, but not the fez." Like
or have him sell the hat to Matt and then immediately put on a second hat and it's the fez.
Yeah.
I'll share and then he can go away.
Right. So
I don't it's not that I don't like it. I don't need him.
I feel like the general like commentary is like, yeah, I think Juilin can, like, we don't need him. But I'm looking at the poll, and the poll is like a good 50% almost are like, yes, Juilin Sandar will be in season 3.
He's a good character.
No,
he's
I'm not.
Funny.
Yes.
He adds flavor. He adds backstory. Like we should keep him, but we
For
won't.
Sure. And also, but won't be. Well, I mean, I personally will be satisfied if he makes a cameo like this, gives Matt the hat, finds something they need, and then rides off into the sunset. And maybe he shows up in season 6 for like.
I mean, we did this with Basil Gill already. I was expecting Basil Gill to have more than literally 0.5 seconds and half a line. Yep. But that's all we got of him. So maybe Juilin does a similar thing.
Right. So I think in terms of going towards, who's going to make it there, these are the people who get on a ship from Tyr. That's Tom, Juilin, Elayne, and Nynaeve to go to Tanchico. Now we need to go from Tar Valon to Tanchico, and this is
her.
Right? Huh?
Domon can actually do something.
Okay, all right. So bail Domon, but let me read what happens in the books, right? And then talk about this. So this is from chapter 19 of The Shadow Rising, The Wave Dancer. The older woman, with gray touches in her black hair and fine wrinkles at the corners of her large brown eyes, inclined her head just as formally. Nevertheless, she seemed to be taking them in from head to foot, especially the great serpent ring each wore on her right hand. I am Coin Din Jubai Wild Winds, sail mistress of Wave Dancer. This is Jorin Din Jubai White Wing, my sister of the blood, and Windfinder of Wave Dancer. There may be passage available if it pleases the light. The light illumine you and see you safe to your journey's end. So Jorin Din Jubai is the Windfinder. And back in July last year, the first Sea Folk cast member uncovered for the Wheel of Time by what series? Today we have a new casting discovery for season 3 of the Wheel of Time. Carmela Bonomi has been cast as Jorin Din Jubai according to her CV. I'm not suggesting that that's what happens. Like there are ships that can go from Tar Valon to Tanchico, I think. Someone can correct me if that's not physically possible. But could there be a Sea Folk ship and that's how they get to it? Or is it Bail, like you said, Bail Domon? I mean, those are the two choices, right?
I think it's going to be Sea Folk, and I also think, like, my initial thought was like, well, would they take Bael's ship down, through the river down to Tyr, essentially, and then hop on a Sea Folk raker and go across that way? But we know that the Sea Folk will come upriver because they do when they're looking for the Cormor. And we've just seen Avienda Sekara Karn at the end of season 2. I think it's a really good time to drop that the Aiel aren't the only people out there looking for somebody to be their leader. And so I think, it wouldn't be unusual, especially if if the Sea Folk know that the dragon is in Tar Valon because he left Falm or whatever. Like, he's not laying low. He's, so if there is news out there that he is there, or that they're looking for him, they might go there. So I don't know. I think it might be. I do think we're going to see the Sea Folk, and I think that would be a nice way to get us to Tanchico with the Sea Folk, introduce them, and then not necessarily have to do a lot with them until later.
And Rafe has said, the Sea Folk and there's a Sea Folk ship. Go ahead, Aradia.
I was gonna say, there's also no reason we can't have multiple boats.
That's
like
true.
the parties could depart from different cities at different times, be more or less circumspect. Like we could have multiple pieces of our party using different boats. Maybe we even have some like really fun parallel scenes where we get like some lecturing from like boat fanatics within the show, being like, no, this is the difference between a boat versus a ship, and a seafaring vessel versus a river vessel, and a sailboat versus a paddle wheel. But like maybe we get some fun parallel montages, and then they all converge, and we get some fun, boat captain humor where the Sea Folk and Bail Domon are like, tit for tatting or something. Like,
yeah. And we haven't had boats yet. I mean, that's another thing, with my husband reading it for the first time, he was boats. Like, I think it was in book 3. He was like, when that was that when they were on the boat this time or when they were on the boat that time? Because there's so many boats in 2 and 3. They're just on a boat here and they're on a boat there and they're on a boat.
There's a boat in book 1.
Yeah. So I think we've missed our boats so far. It's time for some boats.
We want to get our boats. Dead Sea, thank you for the super chat. We want fans have giant egos. The show producers, directors must always have. Where can we fit an Easter egg for the Dusty Wheel in this shot? I think there's. I am totally fine for a Fez Easter egg. The one Fez person in Tanchico. It has no lines, has nothing, has the red fez, and it's like, yes, that is Juilin forever. I'm totally on board with that. But Bael, we saw Bael twice, and we both times didn't see him on a boat, so I didn't see him on the spray. He did talk about the spray, right? He mentioned the spray.
The spray has been implied very strongly.
The spray exists in the show. I feel like. I saw it. Doesn't he say? Is that what he says, Rain and Chin? Is that what you're getting? Yeah, the spray is a riverboat. Yeah, that's.
I can't take it into the ocean. You're gonna have to, dude.
Right. Yeah. So yeah, it'll be interesting how that happens. Because if it is indeed Bael who takes, the original that the Leandrin Grudge squad from Tarvalon to Tanchico, then that's another member of their party who might continue to be playing a role. Now, I actually like the thought of it's the Sea Folk and Bale's already there, and there is Igaen and that character. So I guess the next, I'm going to end this poll, which is really dead on, almost 50-50 the longer I've let it go on. Will Juilin Sandar be in season 3? 51% shades it for yes. I think the next one, overeaters, you're asking all the right questions. We're gonna get there. We're definitely gonna get there. Is a quick Igaen question. Are we going to see Igaen and Seanchan in the show?
God, I hope
either
so.
of you? Oh, okay.
God, I hope so. I love Igaen so much.
I do too. We all love her, and you know, she has such an interesting story and such an interesting arc, and you know, it's hard to add in a character who has that kind of a big emotional roller coaster that she's going to take us on if we go there. But she's so great. We love her, and so going back to the Sea Folk taking them. So I mentioned this to you too earlier, that I occasionally conflate things that happen in Tanchico with things that happen in Abu Dar. And I have actually already said a couple times, like, there are enough double beats in the books that I think that the show is going to have to combine some of those. And yet I said that, and here we are going back to the tower and then leaving the tower again. So okay, so I was wrong about that one, because I was like pretty sure they were going to combine those. But I do think that maybe we will get some of the Abu Dar elements, a couple of things that come in to get dropped into the Tanchico storyline, potentially. Maybe the hint of the Bowl of the Winds is there. So if they do take the Sea Folk Raker to get there and realize that Sea Folk Windfinders can channel and learn a little bit more about that, and then the weather starts to get wackadoo by the end of this season, like, it seems like that would potentially like be a nice place to take us into season 4 with the weather being screwed up, looking for the bowl. And you know, maybe we can drop those things in if we introduce the Sea Folk here.
Hey, if we're cutting Juilin, the bowl, but yeah, no, you're right. There's so many cool things that they can do in terms of getting them there and introducing Igaen at some point, because she's such a fascinating character, right? It's just so cool. Omar's like, please, no Bowl of the Winds, please.
Megan said the same thing. Megan was like, no bowl. The weather is fine in the show. Okay.
The weather doesn't go. There's no winter's heart. There's no winter's
really funny.
heart.
It's true. There's so many things I want to cut. I'm like, I don't want the circus. I'm like, get rid of the circus, please. And I know.
Oh, we need the circus.
But I've never even considered no bowl. But as I started saying it out loud, but as I was saying it out loud, I was like, no, we don't need that.
I'm like, we don't need the bowl. We definitely need the circus. Is where I'm at. Yeah. This. Let me see here. There was one. Let's find. Okay, yeah. So yeah, so they get there. You know, however, Sea Folk, Bale Doman, Stray. I'm going to let this go on for a little bit about Igaen and Seanchan. But let's talk about, Leandrin, and the kind of antagonist part of this, right? We know, someone mentioned about Leandrin knowing about domination bands. So what they do in the books, in kind of a nutshell, Leandrin gets in touch with the White Cloaks in Jaikim Caradon, basically takes over the Panarch's palace, takes captive, what's her name, Amathera, and the Nynaeve and co find out about that in tel'aran'rhiod using need, figure out we have to save Amathera, and also kind of fight Leandrin. Playing a role of maybe three different people throughout all of this is the spider softly from the shadows. So Moghedien as the, what's her name, Gildan,
Gildan,
Gildan, yeah, I forget, like she's cleaning around
she's the housekeeper
yeah,
for
yeah,
the Airbnb where all the Black Ajah are doing brunch.
The Black Ajah mansion, and so she's there. She then goes and finds Nynaeve and Elayne, figures out what they're up to, does compulsion, makes them forget, and then basically is running the show with Leandrin, and in extension, Carradine too, right? So how do we see Moghedien? Like, is Moghedien going to be doing all of that in the show? Are we going to see as the housekeeper? Are we going to see her do compulsion? How important?
Oh, she's not going to do the housekeeper shit. No, she's way too bonkers and aloof for that. She's just going to be puppet mastering. She's not going to be cosplaying as a regular person. Not at all.
I would agree with that.
Okay.
Yeah. And my biggest concern, my saddest, breaking my heart idea, Leia Costa is divine, and all I want to do is have her on every episode for about 55 minutes total screen time, and each of the episodes is just so incredible. But she's from the shadows. Like, I think if they do it the way they should do it is, it'll be like a puzzle box mystery show. Like at the end of this season, we'll be like, fuck, she was there. I'm so sorry.
That was the one. That was the one.
But we'll be like, she was there, and she was there, and she was there, and she was there. Like,
yeah.
So there's an aspect of like, I think at the end of the season, we're gonna see this like big reveal that she was actually pulling all the strings, but I don't know.
Moggy all along? Is that not?
It was Moggy all along.
Yeah.
But we won't actually see her until we look back on the whole thing. And
I don't know if
fingerprints will be there.
Give me all the Moghedien. Like, I don't care. Just show me. I want to see Leia Costa, right? Like, it's just.
Yeah. I mean, they could do both, right? They could do a thing where everyone in the story doesn't realize, but we keep seeing her with her distinctive haircut, and like no one else knows what she looks like. So everyone's like, "Oh, she's just fine," and we're all like, "No, don't."
Like the redacted in the Prestige. Yes, sure. That would be cool. Like she's there, but you don't see her. Like that kind of thing. Like
I like it, but not from an actor point, because I don't want to not have her all season.
Yeah, I'd rather not see the sequela of Moghedien being there. I'd rather just see her there, But you're right. They might be showing her things that she's done. But yeah, along those lines, like compulsion. That's the next poll I'm gonna like. Are we going to see Moghedien come in to use compulsion?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Definitely. Okay. You don't even need to do a poll. Obviously.
It has to do it on our girls, because we need to see it. We need to care that she's doing it on somebody. Like, we won't care if she does it on the Black Ajah. And we also need to see that she is so beyond Leandrin. Like, Leandrin betrayed, so that in a sense too, so that Nynaeve's anger can move from Leandrin to Moghedien.
Right. I want to have Moggy compel Nynaeve and Elayne. Yes. I mean, that is it's definitely one of the scenes that you're like, whoa, like that shouldn't have happened already. Like, when I remember first time reading it, I'm like, oh, that's bad. This is bad. Like, Moghedien is she's different than the others in terms of how she's doing it, but she's also, when she sees the moment, she seizes it, right? Like, that's she takes those risks. So yeah, Moghedien. I feel like I want to see a lot of Leia Costa. The other kind of thing that plays into all of this is then their hunt kind of basically leads to the Panarch's palace and this mission to free Amathera and find the domination bands, right? So Elayne, I think, goes off to get to free Amathera. The way they get in is funny, because Bail Domon and the ice peppers, right? There's that part to it. Now we have Matt, and they've shown us this, and Matt hasn't done this in the Dragon Reborn. So is Matt going to blow up the Panarch's palace? Like, is he going to, like, how are they getting in? And instead of the ice pepper kind of way of getting in? Is there a mat with these fireworks with the illuminators?
I would love that.
Yeah.
I love Matt blowing up the wall. It's so good.
That was another big wrong for me after the season 2 teaser or the trailer. I was like, when we saw the explosion on
Oh
Right.
yeah, turns out it's land fear, actually.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was
Yeah.
sure it was Matt getting in. But what we don't know, we've seen the picture of Min in the museum slash
Mhm.
Panache Palace area, but we don't know for sure if they're going to follow that part of the storyline either. Is it going to be a more public museum? Is it going to be something more accessible? Like we don't even know for sure. I don't know. Do we have a casting of the Panache? Like I don't think we even necessarily know that there is that
No,
character.
we do not. We do not
And if
have.
we drop Juilin, we don't need Thera.
Oh
Yeah.
wow. Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
I like
Um,
Thera, but yeah, that seems just too
I'm gonna do a
logical.
quick. Will Igaen be in season 3? Yes. Is Igaen essential to Tanchico? 70% of people want that to happen. Is Amathera be? Amathera be in season 3? Is she essential to Tanchico? She is the Panarch, so she may be
Do
mentioned,
heads of
but
state really matter? Really?
yeah.
We never meet the king, and the king is like, supposedly still has slightly more power than.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
Amathera exists to give Juilin something interesting to do, and also to kind of show us, a parallel to Egwene in terms of someone who's come out of being captured, right? Like she's there for that, but like I don't know that we need that in the same way that we need like, oh no, there's domination bands for men as well as women. Like,
Right.
I don't know if it's the same parallel.
Right.
Yeah.
I think there's that question of Amathera being there or not. But yeah, Matt blowing up to get in, because they've shown it so many times here that they're like, it literally looks like a what do they call it? Coconut bomb. I think Omar called it a little while ago there. The one thing, the two other things I think that are important in that. So what happens in the books is Nynaeve happens upon the treasure trove, right? She sees the sad bracelets and she's like, ooh, this is sad. I don't know if she sees the seal at that time, but she does. Those are the two kind of things that she gets.
I think she does. She does at the same time.
And then in walks Moghedien. Yeah. And then this happens. Let me read this to you. A man who came in then, or any woman unable to channel, would have seen only two women facing each other across the white silk robe from a distance of less than 10 feet. Two women staring at one another in a vast hall full of strange things. They would have seen nothing to say it was a duel. No leaping about and hacking with swords as men would do. Nothing smashed or broken. Just two women standing there. But a duel all the same, and maybe to the death against one of the Forsaken. That's chapter 54, Into the Palace. So yeah, I mean, Nynaeve versus Moghedien, like that, like you would imagine, like Moghedien is the Forsaken, is important. That the show is maybe building towards almost like a Nynaeve versus Leandrin kind of showdown, because that's been so important. So how are they going to handle this specific fight, and then how does Leandrin play into it? Because Leandrin just can't be not present during all of this like she is for the fight, because the way this happens is they fight and Nynaeve is like, well, I think we're matching up here, so I'm going to whack her with these bracelets, and then shields her so she wins, until I forget who has the balefire tel'aran'rhiod.
Mila Kinderode.
There you go. Just blasts balefire everywhere, and Moghedien is able to escape, and that fight kind of ends with that. Leandrin doesn't really play a role, but we need Leandrin. We need Kate Fleetwood to be here. So how do they play in Kate, Moghedien, Leandrin, Moghedien, and Nynaeve? Is it like a three-way staring match? Like, is it a standoff?
So,
like what is happening?
Something I was thinking about earlier is a way to make Moghedien really fun would be to have Leandrin kind of what Lanfear did at the very end of season 2, be like, "Oh shit, light help you, Randall Thor." Maybe it can kind of be like that, where like Leandrin, has a lot of affection for Nynaeve and cares about her, and maybe she kind of sees this absolutely bad shit Forsaken show up and starts trying to protect Nynaeve within the context of being a dark friend, within the context of needing to obey her oaths, but is also like, get out of here, and is kind of trying to like run interference to protect her would-be protege from this Forsaken who's like not even reliable, right? Like you've got like reliable dark friends, reliable Forsaken. They're evil, they're predictable, they have goals. I don't think Moghedien's reliable. I don't think she's predictable. And I could see dark friends being like, oh, we got to protect our people from like the absolute unhinged chaos that particular Forsaken is.
Maybe. That's a good take on show Moghedien, right? Like she is not the same Moghedien. Yeah, I didn't realize that. Like how are they going to deal with that craziness, the zaniness? Yeah.
I've been thinking about this Showdown because this is one of my favorite little passages from the books. I always laugh at it. Like no one would know anything's going on. They're just standing there. And I think like early in days of the early talk about the show, they were like, "What are we going to do when we get to that scene?" Because that's not cinematic. Like that's super boring. And I don't think it'll be that. I think we're going to see lots of things blowing up. But I also, Erratopedia, I was going to say the same exact thing. I was going to say I feel like Lanfear is going to. Like we keep talking about there are different ways to walk through the night. Like you can, no one can be for the shadow for so long that they can't come back to the light, whatever it is. I don't necessarily want a redemption arc for Leandrin. I hate her in the books. Love Kate Fleetwood. They've done so much with this relationship. We've seen her unravel her bindings before and wake her up before the Seanchan took over. So like she's already gone against the wishes of the shadow.
She has her own thing. Yeah.
Her own agenda. And she likes Nynaeve. She does. Like, despite the fact that she threw her across the wall and like smacked her and all of the things, she likes her. And so I think they have to bring her into it in some way. And I think I don't want her to save Nynaeve because Nynaeve first has to fail against Moghedien before she wins against Moghedien. Right. And whether or not both of those things are going to happen this season, I don't know. But if Leandrin is a part of saving her, like the conflict too for Nynaeve then of like, now how much do I still hate Leandrin and can I hate her as much? And will I have an opportunity to kill her? And will I actually do it? And does she?
Ratchet up that drama.
Right? I was like trying to figure out what Dana Lou's saying here, and I'm like, yes, that Moghedien. That's how you describe Moghedien. Crazy. But yeah, I like that. There's not a redemption arc, but there is a Leandrin is almost like the wild card Joker kind of play here, where she's like, well, Lanfear killed the one thing that was maybe keeping her in some check, and now it doesn't matter. So she's like, well, I'm just going to do what I feel like I want to do, and it doesn't matter in the right moment with Moghedien. I'm going to end this poll with, will Amathera be in season 3? It's funny that I thought it was going to match up to the Sandar, but it's kind of slightly the opposite. So it's 53% said no. With Juilin, it was slightly the other way. But I think it's the same people voting for the same people like Sandar and Amathera to be there. The question is, will Leandrin help Nynaeve fight against Moghedien? In her fight against Moghedien? I think that is that a reasonable way to put it? The two of you in terms of what you're trying to say? Yeah, okay. Well, Leandrin help Nynaeve in her fight against Moghedien. That I think we need some way of doing it. Someone mentioned, I'm trying to think who it was, that Leandrin has the balefire. So like that's the role she plays, and she necessarily doesn't. She just causes chaos and destruction with it. instead of necessarily fighting against Nynaeve or Moghedien. Like that's the distraction that lets Nynaeve, because she thinks Nynaeve is gonna lose, but she helps by doing that in her own way. There you go. Yeah, I think this is what I. Maybe she'll distract Moghedien by not directly, but not directly help is what I said in a roundabout way. Yeah, I agree. That's probably one way of doing it. Eventually, no, my girl Nynaeve doesn't need any help. Yes, exactly, she didn't. But like Leandrin thought she did, and messed it up. That's what happened. But yeah, those are some really cool like moments in terms of kind of wrapping up Tanchico. There's getting their Black Ajah hunt domination bands. They find the domination bands and fight Moghedien and Leandrin, and that whole thing happens. Is there anything else that you would add? I mean, like, what is Matt doing in that part of the thing, like the fight? How do we insert Matt into this?
I mean, we still have like the world building day in the life piece of all of this, and something that I said to you guys before we started the stream was that I've always kind of thought of Tanchico as like the Portland, Oregon of cities, in that it's not really like it is a city, but like it's not a big city, and it doesn't have like big city infrastructure, but it is still an upgrade from like a small village. And like if you hadn't been to a city like New York, you could be forgiven for thinking that Portland, Oregon was a real city, right? Like it's got some city like attributes. And so I could totally see us having like a kind of day in the life Tanchico-y kind of thing, where we get to see like, oh, here's a port city. Here's a city that's not particularly important in terms of like the geopolitics that we've seen. Like the Panarch, Panarch's not even a queen. Like what even is this? Like I could see there being a lot of day in the life stuff. And then any character who doesn't have a pressing reason to show up, right? Tom, Min, Matt, anyone who we don't know quite what their path is, maybe they show up because they're just doing tourism and they heard that like there's a really fun summer festival or like fresh oyster shooters.
Powell's Books is down the street.
Exactly. You want to go visit Powell's. Maybe Tanchico has a Powell's.
It's interesting you mentioned about the size. So someone needs to corroborate this. I was reading the Water Encyclopedia. I use it a lot to like find things, and then I go to the books and look at them. But the Water Encyclopedia on Tanchico, if you look at this part here, Tanchico is larger than Tyr and maybe even Camelin. And I don't believe that. I just straight up don't want to believe that. Not that like that is untrue and that is like a typo, but that just seems like that seems real in terms of someone writing that. Tanchico is larger than Tyr and maybe even Camelin. That makes no sense.
It does not have the economic or political punch of the story to make me believe that for a half second.
Yes. And it started as a really small town. I was reading up on the history of it today in the Companion, and it started as like it was barely a city. And I just looked at the map of it, and it's just those sort of three jutting like peninsulas that come out, where one is the Panarch, one is the King, and one is the Assembly. And there's not much to it. So I don't know. I don't buy that either. I'm not.
Daniel is like larger in area, surely not in population. That's interesting. Yeah. So just land, from a land perspective. Although,
but it's not like still, a densely packed like spilling over itself city.
Yeah, it's like interesting. It's like Houston versus New York. Like that's like Houston's flat and like big, but is not New York.
But New York is vertical.
Yeah. It's just interesting. Yeah, that where that comes from. I thought that was interesting when I read it. But yeah, it's. I think we're kind of getting to. Go ahead, Jen.
Oh, sorry. You were asking about Matt too, and like what I was just gonna say. I wonder if there's some aspect of, since we haven't had the Black Ajah story of Tyr ahead of this. Mm-hmm. We haven't had the girls hunting the Black Ajah yet. we could really focus on them. Like the girls could really focus on the Black Ajah and on Moghedien, and leaving Matt and Min, and if Tom and or Juilin or whomever else is there with them, they could really be focused on getting the domination bands. Like,
Right.
and in a sense, Matt, despite him looking like the hero and feeling like the hero, he's still going to be dealing with lots of guilt about stabbing Rand with
there's that. Yeah.
Killable wound. So there might be some aspect of allowing Matt to have that journey of trying to find that, and letting the girls focus on the Black Ajah. And the girls focusing on the Black Ajah, I do think that we're really going to focus. People were so frustrated about Nynaeve not doing anything last season. I think it was so important for her character to be incapable last season. I don't think we can maintain that for another full season. I think most of the season will be Nynaeve blocked. I don't know that she's necessarily going to get over her block, but I think most of the season will be her frustrated, blocked, channeling sporadically, failing to Moghedien, perhaps with Leandrin's help to save her life, but she's still feeling bad about herself because she didn't do it. And I hope that we end up with her, maybe we get all the way as far as her actually having a victory at the end and starting to regain that confidence, because I don't know if I want to spend too many seasons with her not feeling confident, because
maybe even like I don't know how much time they have, right? Like, can the block be gone at the end of the season? Like, they could even like speed that up, that can happen, because that is
what if she had a victory as the entire city of Tanchico is burning down and falling into the ocean, and she's like popping champagne for herself, but like literally a whole ass city has like finished falling into the ocean.
between Nynaeve erupting and then a balefire rod,
exactly.
And Matt with his fireworks, right? Matt with the fireworks, all of that is going to. I just love chat. It's just talking about what city is Tanchico, and
I really screwed them up by throwing a real world city into the mix,
like a coastal Detroit.
Hey, I'm not wearing I was gonna wear my Detroit versus everything shirt, but I don't have it on today. But I'm like, all right, we might have been throwing a little shade towards Portland, but I'm gonna stand up for Detroit here.
That's good. Is there anything else? Did we miss anything in chat? The two of you. Is there anything else that is essential to Tanchico and the plotline that we're doing? I think I did everything in terms of the things I had on my list. The only people we didn't talk about, I briefly mentioned Carradine. I think Jacob Carradine is in the show. I always forget this, but then I'm reminded. I'm pretty sure What Series has confirmed. Are we going to? I mean, we need someone of a one henchman, one person for the Black Ajah. Maybe in Carradine's there doing that. Do you think we're gonna get Carradine and? The
White Cloaks do have a presence in the Tanchico plot. They are part of what's going on there. So given that they've been a looming threat for 2 seasons, it seems logical they will still be lurking around causing problems for our people.
And it's interesting to me that we haven't seen any instance of them whatsoever in the trailers, teasers, images. I think it's because they're saving them all for 2 Rivers. And so also considering we're going to get a heavy White Cloak presence in 2 Rivers.
Oh, yeah.
Might not get them in Tanchico.
That's a good point.
Spread them out.
Conservation of White Cloak energy.
All the White Cloaks. I mean, there is Childbire too. I mean, do we need Childbire and Carradine in the same place? Even though, only one of them is a Dark Friend. It's an interesting way to use. No need for Carradine, Vashio, just make Valda Dark Friend. I think that.
Did we have a casting for Carradine? Why did I feel like we did?
We did. I think What Series has talked about both Carradine and Childbire. The Seanchan.
I like this comment in chat that White Cloaks in 2 different places shows that they aren't just one band of mercenaries running around. So I guess that could work for giving us like, oh no, they're actually a bigger continent-wide organization kind of thing.
Right.
Um,
I mean, you can
mhm.
do an establishing scene of a few White Cloak with Carradine there, and then only Carradine afterwards. There's no need for more White Cloaks, right? Carradine just plays a role talking to Black Ajah. That's kind of maybe one way
Like
they could play
Carradine.
it. But
Yeah.
Carradine, we haven't had Carradine yet. We've no, maybe we have. We've had the White Cloak. We've had White Cloak in this Darkfront Social, right? So Carradine it has
Oh,
there
yeah. Yep. Yep.
the man called Bors is there. Um, we don't necessarily know if it's Valda, because that's a lot of people thought that Valda, but I think a lot of and I'm kind of with I'm Cutie Pie. I don't want Valda to be a dark friend because yeah, you want a
Human
non-dark
evil.
friend
Yeah. Yeah.
to be an evil person, I guess, or like that kind
Especially
of
because they've been putting up Dark Friends as being conflicted. They're really playing that
yeah.
gray area of friends with Dana.
Right. And that people who are not dark friends can be just pure evil
Yeah.
without once ever trying to be pure evil. They just are.
Yes. There you go. All right. We're getting to the end of our show. Let me start our giveaway, and people can start doing that. We haven't decided our show. If you look at our list for upcoming shows this weekend, I think we still have Essential Two Rivers up for Sunday. But this Sunday is Super Bowl, and between the two of us, we decided at the kind of end of December, we're like, okay, we're gonna like start running. We're gonna do a lot of shows, and we're getting to the point where we're like, "Ooh, this is a lot."
And
We're
it's
doing
gonna
like
be a lot
we're doing a lot,
of
and we want to still do it, but I feel like this might be a good weekend to maybe not do that show. But having said that, we do have some special things coming, so wait for announcements on the Dusty Wheel for in the next few days. We're gonna have some special announcements. So that's a little. We don't right now plan to be live this weekend. Having said that, we go live at the drop of anything. So we may do that. So it might not be Sunday, it might be Saturday. We haven't decided. Between the two innkeepers, we'll figure it out. But we'll be back next Wednesday, whatever they drop in the morning. I think we have between Essential Idle Waste or our episodes breakdown planned for next week or the week after. I keep forgetting we've changed it so many times, and I mean the trailer is coming soon. Hopefully in the next couple of weeks. I don't think it's gonna go farther than that. I mean it could, but that's probably Jen radio trailer. I mean we haven't had the trailer. It's
Have Super Bowl theory. I know that people have talked about that. Is it possible it would drop during the Super Bowl? I don't know.
we raffled the not raffled. We polled this morning. Is it coming trailer this week? So in a Super Bowl next week or the week after? I think next week had like 60%. But there was a good number of people who still thought this week. Although you're right. I think is it Deadline or Variety? Someone has said in their article that Prime Video is not going to have a presence. They're not planning to have a presence on Super Bowl.
They probably,
So
they probably
yeah.
do have a pretty knowledge of what's airing. So
Right. Yeah. I feel. Go ahead.
darn expensive.
Yeah.
I don't. What? We all know we're a budget show. I mean,
Right. Spend that money on something else. I think
give us better weed.
it'd be
All kinds of
cool.
things.
Yeah, but I don't know if it'll make that much. Um, people
And
are
it
saying
isn't the right demo either. It's not the right demo. I mean,
No,
everybody, but
no.
ultimately, it's not the right demo. It's going to be
Yeah, a
big.
2-minute trailer for our fantasy show is not what the Super Bowl audience wants.
right. Yes. No. No. For sure. For sure. Yeah. No.
But
I
it's what
think.
they need.
Yeah.
But it's what they need.
Is what
Well,
we.
I mean, that's true, but
Yes, Geekiary did have that post. And no, Light Blindfold, really not what I was saying. It was just, we hope the trailer's coming soon. just because we were ready. We've been ready like
there's only so many Wednesdays between
yeah,
here and the
exactly.
the
We've been
show
like
premiere.
ready
Like,
every Wednesday for this to happen, and but we have there's always stuff happening at the Dusty Wheel. We get so many rumors and news and rumors. So just talking about things that may come that are fun. And we'll be here. We're here to cover it. So look forward to that. I'll keep that going for a little while. So yeah, I don't really have anything to show, other than maybe I think we should just play the clip again, right?
Yeah.
I mean,
sure, yeah.
Yeah. Let's do that. Here we go.
Well. It was only a matter of time, wasn't it? Well, go on then. Don't be nervous. No need to play coy. Yes. The rumours are true. I am indeed the Hornblower. I did, in fact, blow the legendary horn of Valir, that fall, turning the tide of the battle. Oh, you want to thank me? Well, that's very kind. It's completely unnecessary of you. Oh, but you insist. A gesture of gratitude, if I must. Well, it's true that my station in life has changed, but at the end of the day, I'm a simple man of simple pleasures. A comfy bed, plenty of ale, cheeky game of dice, when the odds are in my favour.
I love that he says comfy. Like, I don't know why that gets me. Like, it's
That
just
word
like
stuck out to me too.
I like that. It's just like a comfy bed. That's
I
what
like,
we
but I
need.
like cheeky game of dice.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh yes.
I love his laugh.
Oh,
when
the
we-
laugh is the laugh is my favorite part of that. It's just like like he's playing around so much with what's given to him as in the script, with the director, even within him talking to the screen. Like there's just Donal is special. I think I'm glad. Whenever you get a change in, I was a big fan of Barney for season 1. You get a change in change a new cast in a character's role that a lot of people like, and we could have been like, Barney this, Barney that, but like, not that we forget season 1. Just I don't think of anyone else as Matt now. It's just so well done. All right, let me end our giveaway here. Let's see. We just keep giving giveaways, but haven't actually. I literally every day I decide to sit down, open up a tab to send giveaways, and then proceed to not do that. I did that earlier today too. Drea, congratulations. You have won a Dusty Wool mug. Reach out to me on social media, on Discord, on Blue Sky, or Discord, and throw me a note, and I'll get back to you. I don't really know when, but I hope whenever it happens, everyone who's waiting for one will get one, and I'll throw out a post saying, hey, if you haven't got one and you're waiting for one, let me know so I remember to do it. Okay, so congratulations to the two of you. Thank you. So exciting to talk about Tanchico, to wait for Tanchico, and now have some Matt, earlier today. We're just going to get... I'm just like, oh, there's not a lot of time left, but this is the best time. Like, having been through season 1, season 2. I mean, the season is great, don't get me wrong. But the build up, the last few weeks as we start getting stuff, the hype train, it's just, this is the best time. It's just so much fun. So yeah, thank you both for being here. Let's see. I don't think I have anything. I thought I had something else. Maybe not. Innkeeper Hatch, I think I don't think there was anything else. Anyways, all right. We'll be back sometime, maybe next week, maybe this weekend. It really depends on how we feel. But yeah, look forward to, put on like this video, leave a comment, when this ends, put on, the notification so when we go live, because we've been doing that a lot. And I just, feel like as we get more and more closer, we'll get more and more drops that will make us want to be like, all right, let's just go live and talk about this. And then looking forward to that. But the poll is open. Yeah, thank you. I knew I was forgetting something. That's what it was. I always forget the poll. Will Leandrin help Nynaeve in her fight against Moghedien? No. About 57% of people do not.
Aradia, I think we've got to do some convincing.
But no, 42% is pretty good.
We're gonna find out soon.
Yeah.
I'm so I love building this anticipation and I love building the speculation without putting a lot of emotional attachment into it, because it's just fun to like build these things and see who's right. I can easily get sucked into like being emotionally invested in it, but this was a fun conversation where I feel like I was able to keep my boundaries where they needed to be, and I'm so looking forward to the show. Thank you so much for having me on to do this deep level of nerd speculation. It's so good.
I mean, Aradia, if you don't know Aradia, follow Aradia on people can put the mods can put the links to
I've got
spoilers.
my podcast, What Spoilers? You can find me on Blue Sky. I am at Best First Chair. You can find my website with all my podcasts on it. It's called foxandravenmedia.com, all spelled out. You can find me there. You can find me in Discord, and hope y'all... I'll see you all around. I've recognized most of the names in the chat, so I'll see you all around.
And then Jens and I also Joss21 on a few different things, and Three-Wheeling Podcast. Three-Wheeling is that Three-Wheeling Podcast? Is that what you call it?
Depending which platform we're on, it's at Three-Wheeling or at Three-Wheeling Pod or Three-Wheeling Pod.
Yeah, and I feel like you recently talked about 205, 206, right? Yes, definitely follow them. I feel like and as we see around here, good night from the Dusty Wheel, and Smash the Black.
Welcome to the Dusty Wheel.
Hey, welcome back to the Dusty Wheel. You went right to kill it. Look at you, you're all ready. You're just done. I mean, this is like this is
really well. And now I'm like, great, my turn.
And if you don't like that, you want to say, well, Robert Jordan could have made the two rivers all white. He could have, but he didn't. So
just complimented me on my dress, and as you can clearly see, I'm
sad.
I
see Nakomi as something along the lines of a Shida Haran analog.
It does make sense why it outlasted the breaking.
Yeah.
See, this is why I have Therese in the show, because she's going to correct everything that.
Hey everybody, welcome to the Dusty Wheel Show. What? Meme Off Challenge! Yay!
Like baby face mounted on like a huge body. So like all of a sudden,
this is not just a traditional fantasy, right? There are sci-fi elements.
And just a moment ago, Rafe tweeted something. So let me get my guest in here with me, and
probably I would say put in 70, 80% of the work. I got to be over the shoulder and be like, no,